start off with BKFC. So we got the number 8 main event, which is actually back in Tampa in October. Bigfoot Silva versus Gabriel Gonzaga. What do you guys think about it?
Well, for me, like, when was the last time we seen Bigfoot fight? MMA or anything else? When was the last time we seen him do anything?
It's what, 2 years, 3 years? Nick can be the fact guy. I probably should have figured that out, but it's been a few years because I know that he stopped fighting because of like health issues, because he was I don't know, 2 or 3 fights in a row. I think he was taking some bad knockouts.
His last fight was June of 2017, and he, out of his last 5 fights, he was 0-5.
Yeah.
And 4 were via knockout.
Did you say he was 0-5? Like 0 wins, 5 losses?
In his last 5 fights.
In his last 5 fights.
In his last 5 fights, he was 0-5.
Okay, so with that being said, even we don't know for sure about health issues or whatever, but even with that being said, all of that mixed together, is this even a good idea for him to be doing this?
We're not going to count one of them, because if you get knocked out by Mark Hunt, that shouldn't count.
Why?
Because he just does that. It was probably a walk-off KO. He just does that. So
of course it still counts. Of course it still counts.
We're not even counting that one.
Well, even before, you too funny. Even before, when I first seen it a couple of days ago, I was like, his chin hasn't been like the sturdiest in his career, so I'm not really sure. I don't know the other gentleman per se that he's going to fight at bare knuckle 8, but I need to be able to size that gentleman up too, like size, where do they relate in weight, when was the last time he fought, what was the biggest thing he's done. I need to be able to gauge all of that, so I haven't had a chance to do my research on his opponent.
Well, we'll talk about that. Gabriel Gonzaga,
he fought in July of this year.
Yeah, he fought in July. He is 17-12.
Time out. He didn't fight. He had a grappling match.
I'm sorry. His last MMA fight was in May of 2018. Is what I'm looking at. So his last UFC fight was a loss to Derek Lewis. He lost to Derek Lewis in April of 2016. So that's how long it's been since he's been in UFC. His last win was against Sean Jordan back in 2013 in MMA. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. Well, his last win was in 2015 against Konstantin Orokin.
Yeah,
Ultimate Fighter. Right. Yeah, off the Ultimate Fighter finale. I mean, he was a big deal like early on in his career. I mean, he was definitely a contender. He was a title contender early on in his career.
Where did he go? What happened?
He's an older guy. Like he's 40, and I think that maybe age kind of caught up to him, and maybe injuries caught up to him. I don't really know.
My question is it a good idea for either one of them at this point? Like, I need to talk to both of them. Like, I need to be able to gauge that energy. And even if so, I mean, nobody can stop what's in somebody's heart. If they feel in their heart this is something they want to do, then you have to support what they're doing, you know what I'm saying? And just keep reminding them, what the pros and cons of it is, even though as fighters, they already know. Namesake fight. That's what I'm calling it, the namesake fight. We got Bigfoot Silva, and then we got this other gentleman. That's gonna be a namesake fight.
Although
I don't see either one of them being real. And this is just me off the cuff.
Yeah.
I don't see either one of them being like real contenders for that heavyweight belt, or you know what I'm saying, moving forward. Like, we looking for the forward action too. So,
But in the ways of matchmaking, I think that fight is matched good. I think those two
are good for them. That's the question.
I mean, wow. No, I see what you're saying, Nick. I mean, in the sense of you got two kind of older gentlemen. They were, MMA, UFC veterans.
Right.
They were both title contenders at one point in their career. So yeah, in that sense, it's a well-matched fight. But also, Miss Nikki has a good point too. Is should these guys even really be fighting? I totally see that because they both have had health concerns throughout their career. I'm not saying again. I have to see it too. Like I have to see how they're talking, how they're feeling about it, how they're training. It's an interesting fight. I like both guys. You know, I've rooted for both guys in the past. I'm a huge fan of Bigfoot Silva.
What's the height on both guys? Give me the height on both guys.
Well, Bigfoot is like 7'20". I mean, I don't know what the hell.
He's like
I thought he was somewhere close to 7 foot.
big.
Yeah.
He's big.
All right, hold on. Gonzaga's 6'2". And Bigfoot's 6'4".
Oh, well, they're pretty. They're
Okay.
pretty. Yeah, they're right in the same range. Okay, well, that can make for an interesting fight. That can make for an interesting fight because the reach is not, maybe the reach might be the issue because what's his name, Bigfoot, he got some long arms. He's a pretty long guy, so
yeah,
that might become an issue for Mr. Gonzaga. I don't know what his reach and what his dip is like. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he should be.
I'm gonna watch it no matter what.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just, you know what? It would have been just enough to say that either one of the gentlemen was in the building, let alone fighting. So now we have another big name at the top of the card coming up. That'll be great for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Hopefully, this is my biggest thing. If we get in this information now, how long have they actually really been preparing for this fight?
Well, when did they announce Bigfoot got signed? Like 2 or 3 weeks ago?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Do you guys really see as that being a great amount of time for him to prepare, especially coming off of a long layoff from fighting?
It would give him just
even
shy of
his
8
opponent
weeks.
has been a little bit more active.
3, 7. It would give him 11 weeks. It would give him a full camp, but it's not how long the camp is. It's where was the starting position.
Yeah. You know what? And if I'm being real, here's kind of how I feel about it, right? Is I think it's an interesting fight. I think it's going to draw some people because they're going to be interested to see Bigfoot Silva and Gabriel Gonzaga. I get all that. But with that said, with all due respect to the matchmaking, I would rather see one of BKFC's like homegrown guys. And I know Jim Ellers isn't like homegrown. He was in the UFC, but Jim Ellers, he's had 2 quick KOs, Elvin Brito, and then against Leonard Garcia at the last show, right? He did quick work of both of them. Put that guy in a fucking main event. Put him in the main event of the show. Put someone like that in there. Maybe put him and Artem or him and somebody else. I'd love to see him at the top of the card. Put the Bigfoot Gonzaga fight. Put it co-main, right? Put it co-main. Like I get it. They're 2 big names, so that's why they're putting at the top of the card. Like I get that, but I think I would rather see BKFC depend on their own stars, right? Their own big stars. I think Jim Ellers, I think he is a diamond in the rough, and I think he's really going to be something special. I really do. He can talk great. He's got a good look to him. Obviously, he knocks people out, right? Which is what we want to see. He doesn't mess around. He goes in there and goes for the kill every fight. Go ahead.
That's going to lead us to that's spoiling us a little bit as the fans. What people watching, that spoils us a little bit. Yeah. And then you get it. Then you get somebody that takes them further than where they've already been in that square ring, and then that's where the fight really begins for me. So if we get past those first rounds with him and his next couple opponents or whatever, and he can get through them like he did his first ones, then I'll be like, okay, we got something going on here. That's for me though.
So you're not quite sold on Jim Ellers just yet.
Yeah, we see it so many times that they get in there and they get these fast knockouts, whether it's in MMA, boxing, wherever, and they get these quick knockouts and they haven't been into the muddy waters, them second, third, fourth round, and that becomes a freaking issue because a lot of them don't work on that cardio. They don't work on that cardio.
Although when we had him on, Ellers did say he can keep that pace for 5 rounds.
Saying it and doing it, I believe it's two different things. So,
No,
I said, I'm gonna wait for it. Young man, there's no disrespect to him at all. No disrespect, but I'm saying we done seen it a couple different times. Like people done got in there and got some quick finishes. Look at our last bare knuckle female champion.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. No, I
and
agree
she
with
withstood the storm. So
yeah, no, I agree. Seeing it and saying it is two different things. Jim Eller's, like I said, he looks in great shape, but looking in great shape and then, like you said, getting tested and being drugged into those waters, that's two different things. Like, obviously, you can say all day, hey, man, I train 10 days a week. I train 27 hours a day. Like, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to be drugged into the later rounds. But until the fans see it, I'm not saying he can't. Like you said, no disrespect to Jim Ellers because I like the guy, man. It's no secret. I like the guy. I think he's a stud. I really do. I think he is BKFC's really. I think they're their first kind of homegrown star, essentially. I really do. I think he's going to be huge. If he keeps getting knockouts like that, I think he's going to be huge. But you're right. If I'd like to see him kind of get tested. I'd like to see him drug into the later rounds and see. Hell, maybe he's right. Maybe he can keep doing that for 5 rounds for 10 minutes. Maybe he can. I don't know, but I'd damn sure love to see it.